Good morning. Today is Thursday, and I came across something. I've been cleaning at my mom's house, trying to get stuff, find homes for stuff, and cleaning the garage and cleaning closets and, boxing stuff and, finding a place for stuff and disposing of stuff that might be, time to dispose of, but, recycling things that can be recycled and finding people who might want certain things. Anyway, I came across this book, and it's called Private Letters of the World's Great Lovers. And when I was looking at it, it's just a little pamphlet that came out of New York. The copyright is 1943, so that brings me to, World War II, the atrocities of Nazi Germany and all the stuff that was going on with everything in the world and the despair that many countries were feeling, and just how terrible when you have world wars. You had the first war, the war to end all wars, and then World War II. But anyway, the introduction I kind of liked. And there's letters in there written by people from the 1700s and 1800s from various countries, and men to their wives or the women they loved, and just it's real nice. But I'm just going to read the introduction because I liked the introduction. History is the story of man's deeds. Love letters are the stories of man's heart. From humble scientist to earth conqueror, from shy village girl to polished lady of society, from the pens of all the world's lovers, there have flowed impassioned and unrestrained words written in the hope that they would bring their distant one closer to their hearts. The power of love has often been the lever which has moved Earth's history in new directions. Love has changed the face of continents and the fate of nations. Kings have abdicated thrones and forsaken empires for the love of woman. And nowhere is the nature of love so openly and completely revealed as in the letters left us by the world's great lovers. The records of history are the bare bones of fact. Reading them, we forget that all these events were lived out by people who laughed, cried, hungered, and were happy, even as we. Letters remind us that all history was once real life, passionate, breathing, and warm, with emotions so timeless that they stamp their impress upon the men and women of all lands and all ages. Many of the letters in this volume tighten the very springs of history. Some were written by the world's great and some by the world's humble. All were written by the world's lovers. And from these letters, only the most significant passages were chosen by the editor for this collection. In these times, there is much to mislead us. Now remember, this is the 1940s this was published. There is much to make us overlook the truly beautiful things created by man. It has been said that this is no time to write or read letters of love. On the contrary, this is the very time when we should read and write such letters. Many of us have been separated from our loved ones. There are more letters being written now than perhaps at any other time in history. There is a pessimistic old saying, and it's in another language, and it means, and so the glory of the world passes. But, and I'm turning the page. But the glory and beauty of all love will never pass. Kingdoms, empires, and nations may rise in might, and glory and crumble again into dust. But the hearts of men and women are truly immortal. The story of man's love will outlive the story of man's conquest. As long as men and women walk the face of the earth, there shall be love, and noble letters in which we may read its enduring record. This, then, is a sampler of those things which men have felt most deeply. Letters aflame with beauty, passion, and all the soft warmth that men find in their hearts for those they love. Letters that are the beacon lights of history. And it's written by Jeanne, Georgette. And I think we need to write those letters. We have so many ways that we communicate with little heart emojis or on the internet or, via phone or looking at somebody on the phone. But, what if we just sit down with pen and paper and write out those letters of love to those people that we care about? put a stamp on it, mail it wherever they're at. When we think about the communications we have now and the ability to communicate, yet how isolated people feel at this time, people feel distant, even though there's more communication and ways to communicate than other. There's a disconnect. And then I see stuff where men, I think if they're too passionate towards a woman, it's like he's what is the term they're using? Kind of like a simp or something like that. It's crazy. Love is powerful, and it has changed nations. And men have abdicated the throne for the women the woman they love. And history has been changed because of the man who has loved a woman. And so it's like, don't be afraid of love. Don't see it as a weakness. Love is a risk. It definitely is a risk. It is a risk to love because you might not be loved back, but it's worth the risk, And so don't give up. Don't give up out there if you feel like, oh, I will not find that love, You can. You can. Anyway, I liked this little book. I like the time it was written. I think it applies throughout time. And I think sometimes we are overwhelmed by what is happening right now. And we kind of think back to the past and think, oh, it was so much better then. And it's like, there's always been pain, always been suffering, always been challenges. And we are living in some of the best of times of opportunity. And there's a lot of hope for the future. And don't be led astray to think not. I know I go down that path of despair sometimes of, oh, this and that. But it's like, in the end, if we love one another, it will conquer the problems that are being faced. It will. It truly will. Love can move mountains. Peace.